Hi everybody, welcome. My name is Bethany. Today I would like to spend some time talking about accepting where we find ourselves in life, like accepting where we're at. And when you've experienced a significant loss and you're grieving this life that you thought would look a certain way, finding that acceptance or getting that acceptance, that can be really challenging. And so let's talk about it. So again, hi, welcome. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're coming back, I'm so happy to have you here. I just wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about this idea of being okay with life when it does not turn out the way that we thought that it should, the way that we planned, the way that we strived and worked towards having a different outcome. And yet here we are. And then, of course, some of us are so prone to comparing our life to someone else's, our situation to someone else's. It's just such human nature to do that. I'm not immune. I do the same thing, especially within my church family. Not so much since moving here to Florida for whatever reason, but back in New Hampshire, there are just these families in church. And I know no family is perfect. I know that. I know no relationship is perfect. Yet, there were just these few families that for me stood out as almost invincible. You know, like everything just worked out so beautifully for them, and their relationships are strong and their kids are doing great. My kids are great too. I didn't mean it like that, but they're just not having to face certain struggles in their life that I never expected to face. Can you relate? I'm guessing that you can. And if you're here, maybe because you're trying to work through your own loss, or you're trying to gain acceptance over where your life is now versus what you had imagined for it, maybe you have some things to share. I would love it if you would write down in the comments below where you're at, or what you're facing, what you're experiencing, or even if you have some questions. Even questions about future videos, future topics that I might cover. I would love to hear from you. So please don't be shy and put something down in the comments, because we need to know that we're not alone. I think that's part of the biggest struggle in all of this, especially when we have this image that it's working out for everybody else. But yet here I am. I feel like I'm on this island over here, and it's not working out for me, not the way that I thought. And what do we do with that? Well, I think it's so important, first of all, to know that we're not alone. I mean, genuinely, the hardest part, or one of the hardest parts in walking through all of this, is just feeling like, I don't know, like you're just alone, like you're in it alone. And I'm not talking about alone like, I know God is walking I know God is walking with me through this, just as he is walking alongside you as well. But I guess I'm just talking, oh gosh, my words are just not coming out right. And I'm not going to keep going back and re-editing, because that just messes everything up and then it's even worse. So I will spare you that, but forgive me for bumbling over my words there. What I'm really talking about is just this feeling that it's working out for everybody else, but it's not working out for me. And it is such a horrible, lonely, miserable feeling. And we are not alone. And so, as I've stated in my previous videos, my dream in being vulnerable and sharing this, because it is not easy to do that, is to create a place where we can come together and we can encourage each other and we can show up for each other and see one another and really be able to say you're not alone. What you're walking through is hard and it's painful and it's not what you expected. I'm walking through something like that too. I know we're not alone. Um, and it's really important that we have that community and that we do know that there's a place for us to show up and be seen and supported. That is just the biggest desire of my heart in all of this, And so one of the things that I find helpful is really so basic. It's incredibly basic, but it's just inviting God into the space, into the pain, the painful parts. It is just really inviting him into the parts that feel like I'm missing out, or the parts that feel like, is it ever going to get better? Is it ever going to feel restored? God promises that he is a God of restoration. Said I wasn't going to cry. I'm not crying. I'm not. Just feeling it for a little moment there. God promises over and over and over, he does not ever leave us. We are never walking through anything alone without him. But also, he is a God of restoration. We can trust him. We can take those painful parts of our story and we can invite God into that space because he is the author of everything. And when we don't have the answers that we need, we can trust that he does. And we don't need to necessarily know the answers, though we certainly think we want to know the answers, or we like that sense of control maybe. But we don't have to know the answers. We just have to know that he's got us, right? Like he is walking alongside us, and hopefully we're allowing him to lead us and to guide us, and we can trust that he's bringing us where we need to go. And sorry, allergies too. And it's for our good. It's for his glory and it's for our good. And I said before, it's such a basic thing to remember, but it's true. It is the most important thing to remember. So invite God into those painful places. Work on trusting him, on being able to trust his promise that he is in all things and he is not passively sitting by and watching you suffer. No, he is right there with you. I was working with a beautiful client not too long ago. Just a really, really sad childhood with lots of abuse, lots of abandonment, just all kinds of things. And she was angry with God. And we worked on that together and we processed through that. And her anger wasn't inappropriate. And so I invited her, bring that anger to God. Like he already knows that's what you're thinking and feeling. Just admit it. Be honest and open with him. Sorry, that itch just won't go away. Be open and honest with him and just be willing to be that vulnerable. And I think that can really deepen the connection that you feel with God, and that can deepen your faith rather than tear it apart. And so you can take anything to God. He can handle it. Like he already knows. And you're not surprising him by revealing what you're actually honestly thinking and feeling. And oh gosh, I lost my train of thought there. Where was I going with that? Oh, so anyway, after we worked through that, I asked her, if she ever considered the idea that instead of God being so distant from her during those really, really horrible circumstances and situations in her life, if she had ever considered the idea that God was actually right there with her and he was weeping for her because his heart is just absolutely broken and shattered for the pain that she's walking through. Now, yeah, he's allowing it. And in his sovereignty, I'm going to leave that there. I'm not God. I don't know why he allows the things that he does, but he does. And, but I asked her if she'd ever considered the idea that he was right there with her, broken hearted about her pain, just gutted, absolutely gutted, and maybe having to use every ounce of restraint from intervening on her behalf to spare her from that. But yeah, he's God, so he knows the ultimate story and the ultimate picture. And like I said, for whatever reason, he allowed her to walk through that, but she was not walking through that alone. He was right there the whole time. And that's true of us. Wherever we're at, whatever we're facing, whatever we're walking through, we're not called to do that alone, and we're not doing that alone. And so if you've never considered that before, if you've never thought, maybe God was with me the whole time and absolutely heartbroken over my heartbreak, I wonder what that would be like if you were to think on that a little bit and maybe consider that. So this will be kind of a short video. I actually have no idea. Oh, it says it's almost 12 minutes. That's not that short. But I just really wanted to talk about this idea of being okay with our lives when they're not, or they haven't turned out the way that we thought they would. And just kind of open that conversation. So again, if you have something to add, please do that. We would love to read that. I would love to hear from you. And if you have ideas about things that I can address in future videos, would you please let me know? I would absolutely love to hear from you and put together some future videos with those topics in mind. So with that, you are not alone. Your life still has meaning and purpose. There will be joy and happiness in your life again, I promise you. And I hope you have a good rest of your day. We'll talk soon. Bye.